I am Mamudu Gajaga, and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios along Caraba Avenue. Thank you for joining us. First, here are the main local and international news headlines. Europeans have gone to the polls in what are being termed the most important election in the country's history. Those were the main news headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you if you're just joining us. This is QTV News. The Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces, Yankuba Drame, commenced his annual military tour on Monday, which will see him visiting security installations, senior officials, community and leaders across the country. Babakar C is with the tour team and sends us this report.
There, the CDS met the Ghanaian contingent commander and his men who are here on a peacekeeping mission. CDS Drame thanked them for the good work they are doing and urged them to keep up the momentum. The convoy then headed to Njongon military camp, where the CDS was received by Camp Commander Captain Jenaba Sane before meetings with the elders of Njongon. The Alcalo, Mr. Njaga Juve, thanked the delegation for coming, whilst assuming the Chief of Defense Staff that the military posted at his village are law-abiding and good citizens who loved their country. However, the Alcalo could not conclude his speech without narrating some of the difficulties they are facing in the village and requesting the army chief to look into them. According to him, the lack of water in the army camp and the lack of vehicles to do their normal military duties and lack of electricity are all key issues the soldiers should be helping with. Bintu Sar, women's leader of Njongon, echoed these sentiments. CDS Drame took time to address their concerns.
When you do not have enough funds, you make do with what is available. Certainty is better than possibility. But what is more important, I can assure you, it's going to be a gradual process. If we have the means today, it is not my wish to see you in those conditions. But one thing I can assure you, I made some promises last time. What is more important, you've seen some positive outcomes. We are working on Farafenye. That's your main headquarters. That's where you have most of the soldiers living outside the camps. Once we are done with that, we can move to the next level. For now, let's exercise patience. I do not want to give you any promises, but I can assure you your welfare is going to be my concern. Water, be assured you'll get water. If you don't have water next year, I will not come here. Because it means I'm not fit to come and tell you something.
Soldiers to be law-abiding and sent a clear message that soldiers should stay away from politics, tribal conflicts, but encourage them to be dedicated to duty. The convoy then proceeded to Kerpate, where a new military post was recently built following complaints from the natives of the village about attacks and thefts. The elders of the village took turns to praise the men in uniform for restoring peace to their area and thanked the government through the CDS for coming to their rescue when it was most needed. The CDS and his convoy then headed for Farafenye for a night stop and are expected to continue the tour heading to the CRR and the URR. Babukar C, QTV News.
Sek Omar Faye, the Gambia's Minister of Defense, says the unanimous resolution taking on the political and security situation in the Gambia at the just concluded 59th ECOWAS Summit are an indication of the sub-regional bloc's commitment to the maintenance of the country's peace and stability. He spoke to QTV's Aliou Cissé, and here is an excerpt.
ECOWAS has decided that we need to accompany Gambia. So we have to allow ECOMIC to complete their term towards the elections of the Gambia. They want the Gambia to be in peace. They cannot afford to have the Gambia to fall. Already we are an oasis of peace in a crisis, in a region full of crimes, drug trafficking. We need to really step it up. We need to be very security conscious. Security knows no politics, knows no party. We want the Gambia to be in peace. I think all Gambians want to be in peace. Everybody's talking about peace. And the president has said it very strongly. But the Gambia is known for its peace and kindness and professionalism. We want to keep that legacy for this country to be in peace, and not people come from nowhere and want to undermine the stability of this country, including our own sons and daughters.
Well, from the communique, just to make a quote, I mean, we have seen on the issue of the ECOMIC mission in the Gambia, the authority directs for the review of the mandate and structure of the ECOMIC to secure the upcoming elections. What do they mean here by restructuring and all that?
Okay, what they're talking about is the mandate remains the same all the way through the elections. So I think that is unanimous. All countries agreed that ECOMIC stays in the Gambia because they figured things are moving. And like the saying goes, if you don't break, don't fix it. Beyond the elections, they have the intention of moving it, modifying it to a police force. But that depends on His Excellency President and Gambians to decide what they want. We could say, yes, thank you very much, and we put it in place, or we can say, no, thanks, and then honorably they have to bow out. But we will cross the bridge when we get there. Now we should concentrate on peaceful elections, peaceful coexistence. Everybody just be in peace, and we allow the elections to come peacefully. The Gambians will decide what they want, and then we will decide what are we going to do with ECOMIC. But our forces are getting ready to, even when ECOMIC pull out, our sons and daughters will take over the sovereignty and security of this country.
Now, large quantities of fish wastage have been observed at major fish landing sites, including Tanje and Gunjuru. Locals at the fish landing sites have complained about the resultant poor sanitary condition and attribute the wastage to overfishing. QTV's Mahmoud Lamin Choi has been investigating, and here is his report.
Visit major fish landing sites in the Gambia, and it is very likely you will be greeted by an unsightly scene of scattered or piles of fish lying along the shores of the Atlantic Ocean. We visited Gunjur and Tanja fish landing sites. These dead and abandoned fish are mainly pelagic, including bonga and sardinella, the type of fish consumed by most Gambians. There is massive scale of artisanal fishing at these areas, and at the Tanja landing site, I caught up with boats that had just landed and were offloading their catch. The president of the landing site tells us about the new normal practice and experience that is contributing to wastage of fish.
These days, at this landing site, there is wastage of fish catch, and there are also low sales. When you buy the fish, the population cannot benefit from it because when you buy to distribute at markets, before you reach your destination, it is spoiled, which has no use.
As pointed out by Mamadou Sarr, this problem can also be linked to a lack of adequate cold chain facilities, such as an affordable and reliable supply of ice, cold storage facilities, and limited processing capacity in the Gambia. However, the situation has worsened recently, and the view of the locals at the landing sites is the Gambia's non-observance of simultaneous temporary halt to night fishing with Senegal this month.
It is true that this is mainly caused by overfishing, because if Senegal closes and Gambia does not, when the boats come to the country for fishing, there is too much of catch, which can only be bought by either the factories or women fishmongers, while the rest goes to waste and is abandoned along the shore.
In recent weeks, over 1,000 boats have reportedly arrived for fishing in the Gambia at a time Senegal is observing a temporary night closure of fishing. Their participation in the artisanal fishing sector is in line with bilateral fishing agreements between Gambia and Senegal.
We all have seen the effect of not temporarily banning night closure of fishing in June. At Gunjur, Katong, Sanyang, Brufut, fish catch is thrown away and abandoned along the landing sites every day. This is what happens. In fact, sometimes people dig and bury the wasted fish. This is because we are fishing during the spawning season, and this is contributing to the large quantity of catch, because at this productive period, fish are more accessible.
For the people working in this area, the environment has become unbearable and they are calling for intervention.
The women collect the abandoned fish along the shore and gather them here for transportation and for sale and for animal feed. The stench is overpowering and disturbing. At breakfast or lunchtime, it is almost impossible to eat in such conditions due to the stench coming from the fish piles. This is not good for our health. We are sick and tired of this and want it removed now.
Having contracts with fish processing factories, some of these artisanal fishermen supply the factories daily with their catch, and according to local sources, when there is more than is needed, large quantities of fish end up being dumped back at sea or at landing sites. The Minister of Fisheries has announced a 6-month-long temporary closure of night fishing starting in July in what it calls a conservation measure. Spawning season in the Gambia is between June to July through to early September. By observing a temporary night closure during this period, it can help prevent people from fishing at certain times of the year to protect species at vulnerable times in their life cycle, such as during spawning season. We have contacted the Fisheries Ministry for comments, and they were unavailable for reactions by the time of this broadcast. Mohamed Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Sad to see such a wastage. We will now take a short commercial break, and when we return, we have more local and international news for you.
Tobuski Act Style 4.0 coming soon on QTV. Sponsors invited.
We've not been able to manage ourselves well since independence. We did not build roads. Instead of feeding the people, it feeds the government. We did not do anything. Borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and grants is not sustainable.
Can you just tell us the secret?
Leadership.
From where?
From the top.
How do we create social housing?
We are going to build almost 100,000 homes.
Quite a lot of money.
We need to build smart homes. We are center left. We are not very left. That is why put the water component aside, put electricity aside. You study, you look at other countries, what they've done.
Why do you think Gambians should really trust in what you are saying?
Because I said it. I'm just joking.
Are you going to remove the alcalos?
TRC public hearings.
We know the truth now. Moving Barrow is the easiest bit.
Yahya Jammeh tried something like that?
Why did it fail?
I don't know.
I don't know.
State of Affairs, airing tonight at 9 p.m. on QTV.
Welcome back if you're just joining us. This is QTV News. Well, first to some news with an international and sporting flavour. Senegal and Liverpool forward footballer Sadio Mane on Sunday inaugurated a hospital in his native village of Bambali in Senegal. The newly built hospital, at the cost of €530,000, will start operation at the end of July 2021. The Star has also promised to pay a visit to the Gambia. QTV's Babu Kursi was at the inauguration ceremony and sent us this report.
The Liverpool superstar and captain of his national team has handed the hospital to the Senegalese government. He spent around €530,000 to complete the construction. He has already built a school worth €250,000 and a mosque in his hometown Bambali. Several dignitaries, including the Minister of Health, governors, and football lovers, came out in numbers for the official opening ceremony. Speakers took turn to praise the Triangle Lions captain for the kind gesture, with village elders praising their son for not only providing them with a hospital, a school, and a mosque, but the rapid transformation his village people are enjoying, including water, electricity, and good road works. Speaking to the press, the Liverpool star encouraged his village youth to work hard and believe in their talents, describing himself as a lucky one among the lot, but saying he believes there are more talented youngsters than him. He said building the hospital for his people is a dream come true, recalling how his sister was born in their house, where he had to help his mother because there was no hospital in the village at the time.
I'm born here and I grew up here, and I have it's what everything begins. So for me to do this kind of things is proudness and happy, because like I always said, Bambali is I born here again, and I know the reality. I know how people suffer, which is very sad. And yeah, well, I didn't start from the hospital. I just tried to build what I can. Example like school, which is really important for the community. I think from the beginning I always said the education is more important. Well, I think after that I tried to do hospital, and to say again, I think to be on the good health is also really important.
On the sidelines of the inauguration ceremony, Sadio Mane received in audience members of the Gambian sports press headed by President Musa Sise. The visit was to extend an invitation to Mane for the forthcoming Sports Awards and Gala Night scheduled for the 3rd of July 2021 at the iconic Sir Dawda Jawara International Conference Center. Mane promised to be in the Gambia for the awards and used the opportunity to congratulate the Gambian people for their team's qualification to the AFCON.
Every minute I was monitoring, I was watching my phone to see the result until the end, and I say, well, congratulations, and I put on my Instagram, because I was really happy for Gambia, but in the meantime I was more happy for the population than the players, because I was in Gambia. I know how they suffer behind their teams, and when I saw it I say, wow, this is big things for Gambia, so they need my congratulations. That's what I said. But again, I want to say good luck for the Scorpions, and hopefully Gambia will play the final against Senegal, but 1-0 Senegal, Gambia 0. Gambia 1, Senegal 0.
Babukar C, QTV News.
A beautiful story there. Congratulations to Sadio Mane. Well, what a gesture for his community. Also Gambia playing Senegal. 40 Boy Scouts last week concluded 4 days training on adolescent sexual reproductive health information and rights, organized by the Gambia Family Planning Association. Loli M. Cameron was there, and she now reports.
The Boy Scouts, selected from the 5 regions of the country, completed 4 days training on sexual and reproductive health. According to organizers, the main objective is to increase the capacity and strengthen the understanding of participants on sexual and reproductive health, rights, and the provision of youth-friendly services. At the event, Fatou M. Jallo, Commissioner Gambia Scout, states that the training is important and timely, adding that it will help the participants to know their sexual rights.
The training is very important and timely, as it will help, because looking at the partners that the family planning have with the Gambia Scout Association, a youth organization that has a membership of over 15,000 young people across the Gambia, will send an information that would help the young people to know a lot about sexual education and reproductive health. So it's very important and timely for this training to take place. A message that I'll have for the participant is that let them share all the information that they have gathered during the course of these 5 days, because a lot has been learned, and the purpose is to share the information with the youths so that they learn a lot from it, because peer education is the best.
The Gambia Family Planning Association is an implementing partner in the West African Health Organization Capacity Building Training under the Ministry of Health. The president of the association, Abbas Cham, tells us more about the training.
You know, in the Gambia, 50+% is youth. So we need to target the youths, because this is a program that has been going on in family planning since in time of memorial. At that time, they were having the youth program. Then later on, now it has been changed to targeting the Gambia Scout Association, so that the youths that are in the Gambia family planning, most of them are members of either Scouts or Red Cross. But the Scouts are spread throughout the country. So we want to reach with the grassroots. So that's why the Scouts are involved, so that they can reach the people. Because all the Scouts, all the members that you see here are from across the country, from KMC up to URR.
Alajimar, a participant from the West Coast region, shares his excitement and readiness to share what he has learned during the training.
What I challenge myself is, after this, I will make sure 1/3, if not all, of our region to have the idea to gain the same thing I gained from this training by disseminating this knowledge to everyone in our local communities and everywhere in our region.
It is hoped that the 5 days training will have a positive impact on the young people. Similar training is also underway for the Girls Guide. Participants were handed certificates of achievement at the end of the event. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
Now, this year, Gambia joins other African countries in marking International Black Women's Day for the first time. In commemoration of the day, Busby Gives Foundation recognizes activist Olimatu Tal and posthumously her mother Connie Tucker. Jennifer Sonko attended the ceremony over the weekend, and this is our report.
Has just begun. The past has just begun.
Research shows that European and American mainstream feminist movements for a long time excluded black women from its history and its celebration of women's achievements. International Women's Day, too, has historically left out black women. The exclusion is not a result of black women's lack of political participation in eliminating gender oppression. Rather, it is the result of the perennial anti-blackness of the white feminist movements. Researchers estimate that African women lose more than $900,000 over their lifetime due to this race, gender, and wage gap. Black women are also less safe. They are 3 times more likely to experience intimate partner violence and 1.4 times more likely to be killed by police compared with white women. These reasons, among others, gave birth to International Black Women's Day.
We do have a Women's Day, which is celebrated March 8th, but that really doesn't recognize us. And we are such talented women. We are women that are tenacious and excelling and just exuberant, and we just are least respected, least protected, least backed. And so that's what Black Women Worldwide has decided. We need an organization for women to protect us, to guide us, to give us economic backing.
Olimatu Tal was recognized alongside her mother, Connie Tucker, who was a social justice advocate for their outstanding work. She was also co-founder of the Burning Spear newspaper and served as chair of the African People's Socialist Party, also referred to as the Huru movement. During the time, she became one of the iconic and first modern-day political prisoners at the tender age of 20 and was released through a national Free Connie Tucker campaign. In the 1980s, Connie lived and worked for the United States Agency for International Development and the University of Wisconsin in the Gambia, West Africa. Courtney died on 26 September 2015 and is buried in the village of Jufura in the Gambia. Olimatu Tal, aside from fighting injustices, has played a vital role in boosting the Gambian music industry.
Well, you know, I feel very honored. You know, I work a lot, and I've done many things in Gambia and international. So to be honored by my own peers is humbling, very humbling. Well, you know, it's hard to wear my mother's shoes because she was such a great woman and she did so many great things, both here in the Gambia and all around the world when it comes to environmental justice, when it comes to women's rights, when it comes to Pan-Africanism, being a bridge between the diaspora and Africa. So I could never wear her shoes, but I know that the things that she instilled in me, I will definitely keep her legacy alive.
A similar celebration was done in other African countries. The hope is this day will be celebrated and recognized in all countries from now on. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jennifer Sonko.
Now on to some international news stories. Ethiopia's National Electoral Board has declared a period of silence ahead of the parliamentary elections, putting a ban on political parties holding campaign rallies and set new rules for media outlets. This story by Lola M. Camara is narrated by Yahya Jawa.
The parliamentary election is set for June 21st despite a serious conflict and looming famine in the north and escalating tensions among its biggest ethnic groups. According to the Ethiopian Electoral Cycle guidelines, the period of silence is part of the pre-election cycle and includes the 4 days before the election. It comes with some responsibilities that stakeholders, including political parties and media institutions, need to consider. The elections were first scheduled for August of last year, but COVID-19 delayed the process, allowing officials to reschedule to a new date. Eligible voters will elect 547 members of the federal parliament, and the leader of the winning party becomes prime minister. Despite some criticism of the decision, Soleiana Simeles, the National Electoral Board spokesperson, said the period of silence was not designed to mute the media, but to advance voter education. However, the move has not been welcomed by most local journalists, as they feel the new regulations could severely impact their pre-election coverage. Other international bodies, including the International Media Freedom Watchdog Reporters Without Borders, have also voiced concern. The elections will be the first in Ethiopia since 2015, with Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed seeking a popular mandate to consolidate his power. While Abiy's victory is possible, the international community is unlikely to see the election as legitimate amid voting delays, ongoing violence in Tigray, and a boycott by some opposition parties. There is a specific criticism as Prime Minister Abiy's dispute with the Tigray region escalated when they defied him and held elections at a time when the situation in the country was less serious than it is now. Reporting for QTV News, I am Yahya Jao.
That's all we have for you in tonight's news bulletin. Thank you very much for watching, but don't forget to join us at 10 for another bulletin.